splashing in the shallow end. Hello, and a very warm welcome to you. Wherever you're listening from, I hope you're doing well. I'm doing not too bad. Thanks very much for asking. Sorry for the delay in getting this one out. We had a spot of good weather here, and we don't often get good weather. So I thought I would make the most of the weather and save a video till later on. So that's why this one is a little bit late. Today's topic is one that is very close to my heart and has been for many, many years, ever since I was a teenager. In fact, I went to see this Richard Attenborough film when I was quite young in the cinema. And it was such a long film in those days that they had an interval. So they had a 10-minute break in the middle of the film, and I went and got a chalk ice from the usherette at the front of the cinema. So the film I'm talking about and the topic we're going to cover today is Mohandas K. Gandhi. Gandhi was born in 1869 in Porbandar in India into a Hindu family. He trained as a lawyer in London and later worked in South Africa, where he experienced firsthand the brutality of racial discrimination. It was there that his commitment to social justice deepened and the seeds of his philosophy of non-violence were sown. Returning to India, Gandhi became the leader of the Indian independence movement against British rule. But unlike other political leaders, he wielded no weapons. Instead, he led millions with the twin tools of truth and non-violence. And some of Gandhi's core teachings that governed his life speak powerfully to us today, people of faith and people who are of no faith as well. Gandhi believed that non-violence was not just the absence of violence, but a positive force of love. And for people of all faiths today and none, ahimsa, as he called it, challenges us to respond to conflict with compassion and to resist evil without becoming it. Gandhi's pursuit of truth was spiritual. He once said, "God is truth, but more importantly, truth is God." In today's world where misinformation spreads so rapidly, Gandhi's devotion to truth reminds us of the sacredness of honesty in our relationships, our institutions, and our inner lives. He was a man who lived simply. He spun his own clothes and he fasted on a regular basis. And in this world of excess and distraction, his example calls modern people to simplicity, intentionality, and mindfulness. But he was also a religious person. In fact, he daily read from the Bhagavad Gita, the Bible, and the Quran. In fact, he often would read the Sermon on the Mount, especially the Beatitudes, before he began his day. He believed all faiths held truth and deserved respect. And in a time of religious polarization, this openness is deeply needed. He was assassinated in 1948, but his message endures, inspiring leaders from Martin Luther King Jr. to Nelson Mandela. Gandhi reminds us that faith, if we have faith, should move us into action. And whether it's fighting climate change or whether it's standing against racism, whether it's feeding the hungry, our spirituality is not just personal, as I think most people's faith or spirituality should be, but it also should not be passive. Gandhi would say, "Be the change that you seek in the world." And in a world of outrage and cancel culture, Gandhi's insistence on forgiving enemies feels quite radical these days. He taught us very much that we should be hating the sin, not the sinner, that we should be understanding the person doing something that is wrong and befriending them and showing them love. And for Gandhi, political change began always with inner change. And his call for self-purification reminds us in the world that the world changes when we change ourselves. And that is the great spiritual truth that we must look to. The world changes one person at a time, and it always begins with ourselves. And it's important to remember that Gandhi's faith transcended religious boundaries. He taught that what matters most is not the label we give ourselves, but it's how we live. Love and compassion and truth, these are the real signs of spiritual maturity. And in many ways, Gandhi's life was a sermon in itself. There's a quote that's attributed to Francis of Assisi, where he says, "Preach the gospel at all times, and if necessary, use words." Gandhi taught us that what most matters is how we conduct ourselves. And his faith and his spirituality was not confined to a temple or a church or a mosque or a synagogue. It wasn't confined to a holy book of whatever hue. His life was rooted in sacrifice and truth and love. And in our own diverse and divided digital age, Gandhi's voice still calls out to us today. He asks us to live simply, to speak with truth, to love boldly, and to walk humbly. And may we all find the courage to do that in our own world and in our own particular way. Take care of yourselves, look after yourselves. Remember that you're the change that starts the change in the world. And I hope to see you sometime in the future when I put a new video up with a new topic. So take care and live well. Bye-bye.